We're going to go over to this site real quick, and we've got magazines.com, and we'll just land here. We're actually just talking about bridal, but let me give you an example of, when I hover over here, you can see all these categories. You got animals and pets, which animals is a huge niche, because keep in mind, obviously the most important, and I can't say this enough, is something that you would be excited about and passionate about, but also keeping in mind that, the ideal niche is a niche where people will spend a lot of money. And if you own a pet, you probably know they're not the cheapest things in the world to have. They're usually worth it and worth all the money, but people are willing to invest in their pets. So, that's an example of a niche that's, is a huge niche, but there's a lot of opportunity there. You got antiques and collectibles, art and photography. I mean, you can see, and after this presentation, if you want to check out magazines.com, it's a great place to find, potential product ideas. Because look, these magazines would not be, spending all this money to produce these magazines unless there was a fair number of people that were interested in this topic. Now, one of the things, and we'll get more into the actual product creation side next week. What I really want to do is for you this week to figure out, without a shadow of a doubt, what niche you want to focus on. And then next week we're going to actually get into the process of what we do to create our product. But there's a couple different ways we can go with this. And people will pay for information. They'll pay just straight up information. Like these you'll see these magazines right here. These are fashion magazines. Now, are they really solving someone's problem? Maybe, maybe not. But there's a lot of women that are interested in making sure that they are on the cutting edge of fashion and look good when they step out of the house. So in a roundabout way, they are solving a problem in that these women want to make sure that they're looking great. But it's not always so obvious. Whereas something like weight loss, that's clearly you're helping people solve a problem, which is I need to lose this weight. So there's a couple different ways to slice it. And there's also another thing that you need to think about, is that people will pay for you to save their time. And let me give you an example. As I looked at this, and I'm not into women's fashion, but if I were, one of the ideas would be, I know what happens is a lot of times women will subscribe to, might subscribe to Cosmo, but they don't subscribe to Marie Claire or InStyle or whatever. And they might go through a few of these articles, but it's one of those things where they really flip through it, and maybe they find the thing that they're looking for. But no one has really the time to, go through all the top magazines. Well, some might, but a lot of people don't have the time to do that. But they really may miss out on some information that they would find really helpful or applicable to their life and their style in this case. And so one of the things you can do is simply be, an idea would be a fashion membership site where you can go through and research all the current information on all the major magazines and put the information together. Now, I'm not saying plagiarize. Don't steal word for word, the articles that are in there. But here's the thing is, one thing you got to realize is most of the time when you read something or learn something, it's not this brand new concept. It's usually someone that learned it, synthesized the information, may have tried it for themselves, and then gave you their version of it. So what you could potentially be doing, this is just a random example, but you could have a monthly membership where women could pay, X amount of dollars per month to have the latest fashion trends. And you could say, okay, well, for the first 3 days of the month, I'm going to spend and I'm going to do all the research. And we'll talk about ways that you don't actually have to do that later on in the training. But let's just say for this example you did, and you pull out 20 good articles out of these major magazines, and we post those in our membership site in our own words and whatnot. I mean, women look. If you go to the newsstand and bought all 3 of these, I think it would cost you like $30. Now, what if I was just charging people $10 a month for the best fashion tips? I mean, you would be giving them not only would you be giving them a deal, because if they got that information, they'd have to buy all three of these magazines, but you're also saving them the time from going through the magazine, figuring out what the good stuff is and what's the advertisements. So, there's different ways that we can go about as we think about the product that we want to create, but saving people time is a great addition to giving people good information or solving the problem or all the above. So, Justin, I don't know if you have any thoughts particularly about that, but I'd love to hear your insight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you really hit a lot of really good points. Being able to, first of all, go into magazines.com or one of these websites, finding a niche, finding one of these companies that's already done all of this, spent thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars doing research into figuring out exactly what people want to know about, what they want to read about in these magazines. And then, there's already that market there. And you just go grab the best little bits and pieces and, kind of put your own spin on it. And then you can essentially repackage it in a way, but just with your own spin. And this is, when you're thinking about really niching down, a lot of these magazines like Cosmo, Marie Claire, I don't read them a lot, but I would imagine that, or I don't think I've ever read one of those ever, but there are a lot of different topics within those magazines, like, I don't know, style or fashion, and I think Cosmo has like lots of sex tips and shit like that. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to cut off.
That's all right. We're all friends here, but yeah, maybe dial it down a little bit.
But okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna try and tone it down. But basically, there's a lot of different stuff that you can find in each of these magazines that cater to, that have like a lot of different sub niches within them. And then when you consolidate different bits and pieces from each magazine, then you can essentially create something completely original. But then that just comes down to really niching down with, like, creating your own little niche within a niche. And think about, who are you really targeting? Like, who are, Cosmo might target, a lot of women, a really broad age range. But you should really be thinking about who your customer is, like exactly how old are they? Is it man or woman? What age group? Do they have college education, high school education? What's their income? And just do they have children? Think about, make this person as completely, figure out exactly who this person is. And every time when you're doing your marketing, when you're creating your product, create your product for this very specific one person. It might be a 35-year-old housewife with 3 kids, a bachelor's degree in economics, and, I don't know, just you figure out exactly who your person is and speak to that exact, speak just to that one person, and then you're really going to find that you can really build a large following. And like Tim was saying before, finding something that you're really passionate about is really critical. And if you don't have something that you're really passionate about, another good alternative is maybe something you'd like to learn more about, that you would enjoy learning more about, and that could be the niche that you go after. Because at the end of the day, if it's something that you want to learn more about or something that you're already really passionate about, a couple of things. One, if you want to learn more about it or you're already passionate about it, well, that probably means that there's other people out there like you that are also passionate about it and that are also interested in learning more about this topic. So there's a good chance that you're going to have a market. But people can tell when you're really passionate about something too. When you're really passionate about what you're doing, that resonates with people. They can tell when they're going through your products, they're going through your sales letters, and they pick up on that, and it will really help boost your conversions. It will help you sell more. It will also help you you retain your customers longer, and it even gives you kind of that sense of a community with your audience, and that has a lot of viral potential. People will want to share what you have with other people, so they'll bring in new customers for you.
I couldn't agree with you more, and it's funny that there's a couple questions that I want to address, and someone asked a great question, say, could you get in legal trouble for taking stealing these magazines information? Okay, let me make a disclaimer. First of all, I'm not telling you to go take that information and then post it word for word. Let me tell you a little bit of secret, and Justin and I joke around about this, about the weight loss products.